Hi there, it's Martin Rapley here with a quick video to share with you 4 ways that you can find builders to price your next refurbishment project. Now, one of the most frequent questions I get asked when I meet property investors is either how do I find a good builder, or do you know any good builders? So I'm going to answer this first question, which is how do you find good builders? And I'm going to start this by turning it on its head a little bit and say that actually I don't necessarily look for good builders. I actually tend to look for builders that are going to be unsuitable for my project, and from a process of elimination, the builders that I'm left with are the ones that may well be of use to me. So how do I find builders? Let's go through some ways of finding builders. A really good way of finding a builder is actually just by getting out and walking around the streets near your project. You will find that builders have got sign-written vans. You'll find that they've got signboards up on the gates, on the fences, in the front window. And those are people that you can start talking to. You can potentially talk to them and see the projects that they're working on. You can decide if they're the kinds of people that you think you can work with. You can ask them what kinds of projects they typically do. They're normally pretty proud, and they'll often take you into the property that they're working on at the time. You can get a sense as to whether it feels as though it's well organised, whether it's well run, whether or indeed the other way round, whether it feels like you're going to be killed and no one knows what they're doing. And that's what I was saying about selecting the builders that you can work with rather than the builders that you can't work with. So I think that is one of the easiest ways of finding builders. At the moment, builders are very busy. So there's a lot of work going on, and most streets have got builders' signs and builders' vans sitting there. So take some time and build up, make some communication with them, get in touch with them, and follow them through. Of course, you'll also see builders' vans when you're out driving. If it's safe to do so, take a photograph of the name and the phone number on it, the email address. You can follow them up as well. So that's the first way that I frequently use to find builders. Now, it's possible to go to networking meetings to find builders. Personally, I find that there aren't many builders at property-related networking events. I've spoken in rooms of over 150 investors, and there have been 2 builders in the room. I've been in many rooms where there are no builders at all. So per se, you're not going to meet builders at property-related networking events. However, you will meet them at a lot of the breakfast networking events and a lot of the other non-property business related networking events. So go along to them, you will meet some builders, and again, you do your due diligence, you get speaking to them, you decide if they're the right builder for you. At property networking events, you may well meet consultants like myself, a project manager. You might meet architects. You might meet building control surveyors, structural engineers, and a few other people that work in construction. They may be able to recommend some builders for you. And certainly that's the case when I'm networking in and around Kent and South London. I do know builders that I can recommend, and I'll pass that on. You could try asking other property investors who their preferred builders are, who they're working with. But what you will find is that property investors are generally fairly cautious about giving out that information. They're fairly cautious that they don't necessarily want to lose their best builder to another property investor, that they don't want to find that their builder's not available to do their work at the time they need them. So you may not get anything from property investors themselves, but you will certainly get recommendations from other consultants. But I would say, per se, you do better go into the more business related network and events to actually meet builders. So that's method number 2. Method number 3 is that you can actually go straight onto Google and Google builder in your town. And you will get a whole screen load of potential builders. Now you're going to get kind of 3 types of sites get recommended to you here. You're going to get builders sites that come up in the search engine. You're going to see 2 kinds of builders sites come up. You're going to see fairly glossy brochure type sites, and you're going to see some very basic type sites that come up. So the glossy brochure sites are typically going to be the larger companies, those with larger overheads, more suitable for larger projects. And those that have got fairly basic websites are typically going to be the smaller companies, the ones suitable for smaller projects. So do some research, do some due diligence, follow them up, check that you're talking to the right contractor, but you will definitely find sites that contractors that way. The second kind of site that you're going to get recommended are kind of directory sites, like the old-fashioned yellow pages. These are sites that literally builders have just gone onto and registered their details. You're predominantly going to find the smaller contractors on there, and you can literally follow them through. They might be a link to their own websites. There might be links to Facebook pages, sometimes LinkedIn. There could just be some photos on a secondary link, and a little bit of detail. There could be some testimonials, but you're not going to get a great deal. Again, you can follow these up. The thing to remember with these sites is that they are just a site that records name, address, telephone number. Generally, no research or due diligence has been done into the credibility of these particular contractors. So don't rely too much on this particular site. Then the third kind of site that you're going to get is the sites which I would call more of they're more of an agency type site really, where you lodge the details of your project and builders pay, not you, they pay the agency to recover these details so that they can then contact you and follow the project through. Now, I think the quality of the contractors on those sites are generally at a higher level than those that are on the straight directory sites. Some of those sites, there's even a fee to join, but importantly, they've paid a fee to get your lead, so they're a little bit more committed. And if they phone you, that's immediately proved that they're committed and interested in your particular project. So follow those through. They're generally quite good, but again, still do your own due diligence. The fact that they're on these portals doesn't necessarily mean that they've always been completely vetted. And then the fourth way of finding builders is just to actually go onto social media. I see a lot of people on social media. In fact, just ask for recommendations generally. Talk to everyone you know. Tell them that you're looking for a builder. Go on social media, ask for recommendations. You'll get some recommendations. You'll definitely get builders following you up. It's the quickest and easiest way. But remember, you still need to do your own due diligence. Just because someone has recommended a contractor, you need to check that they're the right contractor for you, doing the right kind of work, and that you can actually get on with them. So there's the 4 ways of getting or finding builders: walking around the streets, going to networking meetings, Googling for builders, or actually asking for recommendations, and in particular using social media. There are loads more ways, but they're the 4 ways that really come to mind. Perhaps if you've got some other ways that you use, you could post them in the comments below, and everyone can benefit from those. Otherwise, do please like and share this video, and I look forward to catching up with you in another one.